Hi, my name is Cindy Martin, and this past year has really sucked. I mean, there's no other way to say it because it did. I was diagnosed a year ago with stage 4 endometriosis, which led me to have a major surgery. And after I was recuperating, maybe 2 months after recuperating from that surgery, I was then diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. So I had that first major surgery for endometriosis, which it did come back, by the way, but I've already done a video for both of those. And I promised on the last video that I did that I would do a video about the Red Devil chemotherapy, also known as AC. There's also the real name for it, but if you just search Red Devil chemotherapy, it's one of the worst ones out there. And I had to go through it, and I am making this video so hopefully if you have to go through it, maybe you will know what to expect and you will be better prepared by some of the recommendations I give you. For me, I had a tumor that might not do very well with chemo, so I had to get a double mastectomy first, and then I got the Red Devil for 4 treatments over an 8-week period of time. I'm going to tell you all about the Red Devil. So the reason it's called the Red Devil, first of all, it is the color red. And second of all, for me, it was the devil. It was so bad. And I don't say that to scare you. I'm honestly trying to prepare you for what is coming. I was given it through a port. I had a port put in. Matter of fact, I just had it removed about 3 weeks ago. And I had to have the port in order to save my veins. So another fun fact about the Red Devil is don't be surprised if you go home and your urine is red. Yeah. Red. I know that's weird, but at least you would know that it is normal for that to happen now, which I did not know that when I first had the Red Devil and I thought I was bleeding. So for me, the first 2 rounds of my Red Devil was not that bad. It usually they all had a pattern of I would get my treatment, I would be fine for a couple days and then get really sick for a few days. And then I'd felt better, but I couldn't go anywhere because my white blood cell has dropped to 0. And I wasn't allowed to go out and around people for a while until my blood count went back up. So they give you a shot the day after your treatment in order to get white blood cells to come out of your bones, basically. And then you'll have a couple days before your next treatment that you feel pretty decent. So that was my experience. I'm not a doctor, but that has been my experience with it. Now, the last 2 treatments were awful for me. So the first 2 weren't too bad. The third one was bad, but I didn't realize that worse could come. And then my 4th one, I was pretty much bedridden for 8 days. So for 8 days, I could not get out of bed. I felt terrible. I had all kinds of issues. So let me get into some of the things that happens, some of the side effects from this chemotherapy. First of all, my heart would hurt every now and then. I vomited a lot. I had a headache on and off. I had no energy at all even to walk to the kitchen or to the bathroom. I literally, my 4th dose, I was literally where I could not even get to the bathroom or sit on the toilet because I had no energy. So that was fun. I also, on day 14 of the first treatment that I had, that's when my hair started falling out in clumps. And after about a week, I shaved it off because I had really long hair and I miss my hair really bad. But that was traumatic for me. I got over it though, and I've got a beautiful wig. This is a wig that I got, and I actually really like it a lot because I can get really, really, really quickly now, and my hair's always done. I don't have to do anything to it. You wash it and it dries like this. So when I was at my worst, I would have severe constipation, and I would have diarrhea and vomiting, And all of that could happen in the same day. I know they're all three different types of feelings, but I would get them all sometimes at once. I felt all the ways. It just felt like your body is not happy with you putting the Red Devil in it. So don't be afraid to ask your doctors for medicine for any of your side effects. That would be something that I would definitely recommend. I was short of breath all of the time, and it does come back though, thank goodness. Your doctors will monitor you and your blood work every week before you get your therapy done. So when you go in, you get your blood work, and then they'll make sure that you're okay to get your treatment. And if you're not, it's better that you don't get it. And even though you don't really want to put it off because you want to get it over with, at least I did. And I touched a little bit about how the last treatment was the worst one for me. I was in bed for like 8 days, and I would try to go to the bathroom, and I had no energy to even go to the bathroom. I found myself with no appetite at all. The chemotherapy puts you in menopause, so hello, hot flashes if you've never had one. And mine weren't flashes. Mine were just, I was hot 24 hours a day. I was hot all day. I am now on an antidepressant, not for depression, but I am on an antidepressant for the hot flashes. You have a 50-50 chance of it working because I can't take estrogen, because all my stuff is estrogen based, all my issues. And this one, I can't remember the name of it, but if you want to know, put it in the comments and I'll find it, and I'll make sure that I get it to you. But it's helped me a lot. So during the day, I hardly ever have any hot flashes anymore, but at night I do wake up still with a couple hot flashes, but it's manageable. It's doable. My blood level during that last treatment dropped, and I had to get a blood transfusion. So that was probably one of my worst days of my life. I did not feel good, and I went to go to the doctors to do my lab work, my weekly labs. And when I got there, just walking from the parking lot to the doctor's office, I was exhausted. I could not catch my breath, felt nauseous, felt like I was going to have diarrhea. I felt like I was constipated. I went in, they told me that I was dehydrated, and they gave me fluid. I threw up in front of all the chemo patients. It was horrible. It was so embarrassing, but the nurses were amazing. The people that are there feel sorry for you because they're going through the same crap that you're going through. So don't worry too much about it, even though I did. It was so stressful for me that day because I didn't. When you don't feel good and then you're going through all this stuff, like you just want to be home, but you don't. You want help, but it's an awful feeling. But anyway, they got me my fluids, and then they told me afterwards that I needed a blood transfusion. Scared me to death. I didn't really understand what a blood transfusion meant, but I will tell you this. If they recommend you get one because you need one, go get one. Even though it took all day at the hospital, and it's just them putting blood into your body, whatever you're missing, they just replenish it. And I don't know what I thought before. I kind of thought they took your blood out and cleaned it and put it back in. I know, ridiculous, right? But that's what I thought. And my sister said that I went from looking like a black and white character because I was so sickly. And then at the end, I looked like I went to the beach and was sunburned because I had so much, I guess, blood back in my body. And she said that it was funny because I left there in the morning going, we're going to come back and I'm going to bed. I'm going to sleep. But the truth was, after when I was done, I was like, hey, let's go to lunch and get a drink. So if you have to do a blood transfusion, don't be scared of it. Know that you're going to feel 100 times better afterwards. All right, so things that I recommend for you. I recommend drinking lots of fluid, lots of water, lots of Gatorade, anything with electrolytes in it. I bought something called IV. It's a type of electrolyte powder drink. The only problem is that you will get a metal taste in your mouth usually, and I did, and it was awful, and I didn't even like the taste of water, so it was hard for me to even get 4 cups in a day. I will say, for me, I'm not a medical doctor, but this is my experience, and this is what happened to me, is somebody in my family was sick, so I was using that Zicam. It's like a zinc, I guess. So you could take zinc or the Zycan, and I was using that, and all of a sudden my taste buds started working again. So every treatment I would do that. When I started to lose my taste, I would start doing the zinc, and I did start to get my taste back all 4 times. So that's something that helped me. I also bought a shirt that had zippers right here, so you could zip it and have your port access to the port easily, and then cover it back up. Get soft toothbrushes, because when you're on chemotherapy, you can get mouth sores very easily. If you eat a potato chip, say, and you barely scratch your mouth, you're going to have a sore. So I got really soft toothbrushes. That worked well. And then I got a mouthwash that was made for cold sores, which helped tremendously. I only had a couple sores during. It was nothing major, but that mouthwash did help me a lot. That's just my experience. If you're going through this, ask for tools from your doctor for anything. Like, they have the mouthwash. They can tell you if you're vomiting. They can prescribe you medicines before you even take any. So you all have it all on hand just in case. And if that medicine makes you constipated, ask for a different medicine. That's what I did. I had 3 different kinds of anti-vomit medicine. And the one that worked the best was the one that made me constipated. And I just wanted to die. I was on, like, it was the most painful thing I've ever had in my life. So I had to change to another one. But they would not have changed me if I didn't ask for it. So don't be afraid to ask for things. I bought this wig is another thing that I bought. If you are like me and you do not want to go in public without, it wasn't that I cared. Like, I don't care. I'll be around my family and everything. I'll go right now and I'll show you. This is the hair that's growing back right now. I'm done with chemotherapy and now I am doing radiation. So this is what's growing back. And I don't mind that. But when I'm out in public, I kind of want to feel normal. And I don't want people coming up to me asking me if I'm a cancer patient. It might sound weird, but that's how I was. So I spent a little extra money. I'm not buying shampoo anymore. I'm not getting my hair cut or anything. So I spent a lot more than I wanted to on this wig because I felt like it looked more real. It's a Raquel Welch wig. So that was one thing that I did. Let's see what else. I did not wear this, by the way, during my chemotherapy with the Red Devil because I was too sick to even go anywhere. So I didn't even think about it then. Bring a chemo bag. Let me show you my chemo bag. This is something that my good friends bought me this bag, and I brought it with me every week. Have some earbuds, and the reason why is because sometimes other people are playing things on their phone. They might be older and they don't know that they can't hear, so it's very loud. So if some people are playing things in the room where you can hear it, then you having earbuds, you can play music and not worry about them. I was not in a major big room. I did not have a private room. I'm in with like 12 to 14 other patients every time. So I also got a nice comfy blanket that I wanted to have to make me feel good. I had some little slippers that my sister got me, and I've got even comfy socks. These were really good. They have like gel inside of them or something. They were really good. I had this little bag that I kept my charger for my phone, just in case my phone died. Little Kleenex, some chapstick, and very important, some little treats. These were all different kinds of ginger treats. So if I felt nauseous, I would just suck on one of those. What else is in here? I had a book. Oh, and then I would bring snacks. They give you snacks there, and they give you something to drink if you want it, but I brought snacks with me. All right, so that's my chemo bag. Also, another tip would be to ask for, I think it's Lanacane, and it numbs you. So they usually will give it to you anyway, but I put a bunch on my port and then a piece of plastic wrap over the top of it so it doesn't mess up your clothes. And I do that a half an hour before I would go to get my treatment, and I hardly ever felt the needle going in. So there's another tip for you. Okay, so after I finished the Red Devil, then it was time for me to do Taxol. Everybody's different. If you've done really well on the Red Devil, usually the Taxol is going to get you. And if you did not do well on the Red Devil, then sometimes the Taxol you might do well on. And that was my case. Red Devil was horrible for me. And there was times where I laid on the floor crying, a lot of tears, and I prayed more than I've ever prayed in my entire life during that time, and it was the only time that I ever felt like, just take me now, I'm done. But I will say that there was light at the end of the tunnel, and the darkness was very short, and I made it through, and you can too. And I hope that if just one person who has to go through this terrible disease, and if you have to do this treatment, I hope you find a little bit of peace of knowing what to expect and things that you can do to combat it, and know that you'll hopefully, I really think that your mindset's very important. My mindset was very important, even though sometimes, you just there's dark days. That's just the way it was for me. And I think anybody who tells you that they're not thinking something dark when they're going through a life and death situation like this is lying. But that's because I'm only identifying with my own experience. Okay. So I made it through, and I know that you can too. So stay strong. And the next video I do will be on Taxol. I will tell you how I got through that. I did very well on that. There was only a few minor things. It was this AC Red Devil that I hope that, I don't know. I'm glad that it's there because it's life-saving, but at the same time, I was miserable, and I hate that anybody has to go through it. So I hope that you guys got something out of this, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching and listening, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll try my best to answer them any way that I can.